I don't really know. Are you live now? Can you see yourself? Is it snowing?
No, it's not
Oh,
that.
it's
It's not.
snowing for me. So here we are on the Facebook Live with world famous Danielle Levine from Joe Oz's team down there in which camera am I on? Oh, that's the um. So yeah, so we just wanted to chat a little bit here with Danielle about kind of what she does down at Joe's team, and kind of get an idea of the difference between a listing agent and a buyer's agent. Danielle, you focus mostly on the buy side of the transaction.
I do, yes. I'm the lead buyer agent on the team, and when I came on, I kind of took a different training path than we're doing now, but I sort of learned both sides at once, which was nice. But um, now moving forward, where everyone focuses on one thing. So I'm the buyer agent, Gary is the listing agent, and from everyone new on the team, they start off as a buyer's agent, and then you work your way up from there. So yes, I work mostly just with buyers, some sellers too, but
So for those of us that are not as hip and cool as you and know kind of what that means. I know when I bought my house, I worked with a buyer's agent and a seller's agent that were both part of the same team, and it kind of enabled me to kind of be protected in the transaction, and that I had the buyer's agent that represented me and the listing agent who represented the seller, rather than the general consensus. A lot of people always want to just say, oh, I'm going to the listing agent, or what does that mean, and what is a buyer's agent, or what's the benefit of using a buyer's agent rather than just going to the listing agent and going that route.
well, the best thing about having a buyer's agent is it doesn't cost you anything. So whoever is selling their home, they're paying the full commission for the seller's agent and the buyer's agent. So when you bought your home, you didn't have to pay anything out of pocket for your agent. So why not have someone who's working just for you instead of representing both the seller and the buyer? I mean, sometimes that's the case, and I mean, we've sold our own listings, I think something like 20% this year. But while that's the case, I represent the buyer and Gary represents the seller. So there's no conflict of interest. So you want to make sure that you have someone who's working just for you. So
And I think that's kind of where, like, I always look at it when I think of the buyer's agent and the listing agent, and even when they're kind of on the same team, having like your separate interests at heart, but still being able to kind of work closely with the other person. Like I always compare it, like if you get a speeding ticket, right, and you have to go to court. I don't really want the prosecuting attorney to also be my defense attorney,
right.
but it does help if my defense attorney went to law school with the prosecutor.
Right.
It's that like he's watching out for me, and you're both watching out for your separate interests, but at the same time,
Right.
you know each other and can kind of easier to deal with each other, kind of thing. So do you guys find yourselves in that situation a lot where you're kind of on one side of the transaction and Gary's on the other?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think it's like 20% in 2017. So we we had this happen multiple times, and it definitely does make for a smooth transaction while we still, follow all the laws and rules and everything, where certain things we can and cannot disclose to each other. And that's just that. But, we look out for the best interest of our clients, and that's really that.
I think the thing is too, it's like when it's a lot of people don't realize, especially on the consumer side, that as far as real estate agents are concerned, is that there's a lot of them, and there's some that are better than others, or not necessarily better, but maybe more responsive or more responsible. And if you're dealing with someone, if when you're dealing with something like you're dealing with someone who's on your team, you can pretty much always get in contact with them, as opposed to, having a listing agent on the outside that maybe, is a little harder to get a hold of, or, just kind of threw the property up and is a little bit harder to get showings and stuff like that. So I can imagine that's a little easier for you guys to work together on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, that's ideal. If we can have the buyer and the seller, I mean, hey, that's awesome. That's going to be easy.
So what if you don't, though? I mean, you don't necessarily have to. In New Jersey, you can't only sell listings that are your guys. You can pretty much sell anything that's out there, right?
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. Maybe first time home buyers. So we have the MLS, which is multiple listing system, which is where all the agents keep their inventory. So everything that's listed with an agent, we all have access to. And like I mentioned before, a seller pays the full commission, which is anywhere from usually 5 to 6%. And then it's typically split, 2.5% or 3% to the seller's agent and then to the buyer's agent. And so the seller's agent is essentially, offering out half of their commission to a buyer's agent to help them sell their listing.
So the reality is, I mean, I think a lot of, even on the consumer side, what a lot of people don't realize or understand is, like you said, you are not the person that you're bringing out, showing homes, driving around, taking your nights and weekends, bringing them to look at this and that. They're not even paying you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they I think in their head feel like, oh, well, I don't know, then I got to pay her and do this. And the reality is that's not true. You're kind of doing that all on the idea that, when they do find something, then you get paid from the sell side. So once they go, in and purchase that home, it's actually the person who's selling their house that's paying both sides of the transaction.
Yep, absolutely. So you don't get gas money, you don't get a company car, you don't get anything, and you don't get paid until a transaction closes. And like you said, it's by the selling side. That's paid.
So you're really just out there every day. Your goal is to find people something that they want and put them into that house, because you don't get paid until they buy something, so it's really, I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of people forget. Your main motivation is to find people what they want, because if they don't find what they want, if you're unable to help them find what they want, then you don't get paid. At the end of the day, that's, what kind of everyone's looking for, where on the listing side, they kind of just, they get their pay when someone's found that wants that property. But really, and that's what the seller's paying for, right? At the end of the day, they're the ones that's trying to get rid of their house. They're trying to move. They're trying to buy something else. And so you have kind of that situation where, your main focus is finding people what they want.
Right. And then sometimes that's the easy part. And the hard part is, sometimes you get that gift from God, and it's a really smooth, easy transaction. But a lot of the time, you have to still work pretty hard to get that transaction to close, and that's a lot of people don't realize that either.
It looks like we just had a friend pop by here, like we're on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Whoa!
Look at you. Must be nice.
Look at this guy. Where are you, on some kind of tropical island or something over there?
Well,
I'm about to fool you guys. Everybody relax.
You didn't wear your matching sweater. Look at me in chain.
Yeah. What happened?
I know. Everyone's
probably
being
not
made to say everyone's made to say I heart OC.
That anyone ever had.
It's probably too hot out there for you to wear a hoodie, huh? I mean, we're here freezing in New Jersey. Thank God we have some sweatshirts. You're about to throw your swim trunks on and go hop in the sea.
Terrible.
That's right. Yeah, sorry guys. I've got about 10 minutes, then I have a coaching call. But I wanted to pop in and say hi to you guys.
Hey.
So we were just kind of chatting there for a couple minutes, Joe, about the difference between a buyer's agent and a listing agent, and kind of roles, responsibilities, what they do, and kind of how, as a consumer, what benefits do you have with working on either side?
That's a great question. So I think the thing that's most important to us, I think, in our organization, and what Danielle and I try to teach the people that we get involved with, is on our real estate team, what we really want to do is we want to develop the person, develop them like as an agent 100%. So Danielle's pretty much at the point on our team where she can do both. She can be a listing agent, she can be a buyer's agent. But the fact of the matter is when you begin your real estate career, you have a lot. You're working with just buyers, right? And that's not a coincidence. It's because you do not have to. Consumers, they value what they pay for, right? So consumers don't pay a buyer's agent, okay? The person that lists their house pays both realtors. That's how it works. So you don't have to really interview to become a buyer's agent. So when you start out, your friends, your family, whoever, they're like, oh yeah, Danielle got her license, I'll get houses with her. But when you're listing your house, you have equity, you're doing research, it becomes more of a business transaction. And what you're going to do is you're going to interview 2 to 3 months. So for us on our team, you start off as a buyer's agent and you learn how to become, the listing is the at-bat. So on a consumer's end, you want someone who's been developed from the ground up and knows everything. It's been through every single, been through 100 transactions as a buyer's agent to see what it looks like on the other side, to just sit up and just go and take listings. The buyer's agents, they're out there, they're on the front lines. They know what's going on, really. When I was doing just listings and Danielle was doing the buyers, I would go to her. I'd be like, what's going on in this neighborhood? What's going on? What's the average days on market? Things like that.
Because you're focusing on really the listings, and the buyer's agents are really kind of out there in the field per se, like, they know what's on the market, what's selling, what's not, they're really a great resource. And I think that's where, discussing with you, or even, when I started discussing when I bought my home, I bought from a similar type situation where I was using one team, and the buyer's agent and the listing agent were a part of the same team. But still we kept it was separate, right? Where, I had my buyer's agent represented me and the listing agent represented the seller, but it was easy for them to work together,
Yeah, you know what? There's an analogy that I always use, and sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. But basically, the reason why, you asked me about the consumer, and that's important. I started to talk about the team and how we develop people, but there was a movie called Chef. Did you guys ever see it?
Yeah.
John Favreau was in it.
Oh yeah.
So
the food truck.
Yeah.
The food truck. Yeah, it's an awesome movie, right? So I'm a huge John Favreau fan ever since. Swingers and everything else he's done. But anyway, yeah, awesome film. I think it's like on Netflix. It's an indie film, and it starts off with this dude he's in Florida. He's making Cuban sandwiches and selling them out of a food truck. And when you're in that, it was a very successful food truck, but he could only do so much, and he could only serve so many people. And so when he was running that food truck, what John Favreau was doing was he was going out and buying. He was the food buyer. He was cooking the food. He was marketing. He was going on Twitter saying, "We're going to be on this corner, on this selling this today. These are the specials." He was changing the currency. He was making the food. He was just doing everything. And when he ran out of food, he couldn't serve any more customers. When he was understaffed, the service was. And then, long story short, there's a love story in there. There's all these things that go on. But at the end of the movie, he opens up like a Zagat-rated restaurant in Miami, and he goes out and he finds the best hostess, the best bartender, the best servers, the best line cook, the best sous chef. So he had a superior product that the consumer wanted and needed, and really he was giving the best out there out of all the food trucks and out of all the Cuban sandwiches or whatever. And because he got the best of every single part of the restaurant business, he was able to have this dynamite, awesome restaurant. And that's the way that we envision our real team is like, hey, if we're the best person who's just concentrating on doing that role, we can sell more houses and we can have a better customer service than an agent that's just doing those things.
And I think that's the thing, is kind of you're focusing on kind of everyone's strengths and keeping it kind of separate but equal, having that ability where Danielle can kind of go out and focus on finding people the house that they want, and then from the list side, Gary, yourself, whoever is handling that, can kind of focus on building the inventory, right? Finding houses that people need to sell. And then, at the same time, when you have those people, then now those sellers need to buy something else. You can kind of pass that ball around to, have the right person, or the person who, is best suited for that job kind of take care of that. What do you think about it, Danielle?
Yeah, Danielle. When you say something.
Hey,
Danielle's all echoey here.
Am I?
I like the echo. Makes me feel like I'm at a rave party.
What's your question? Hulk is here.
Pretty much, from your perspective, you're kind of on both ends of the spectrum. You mainly focus on buyers, but also know about the. What do you prefer as an agent? What's better for you, or do you care? Or?
It's funny because at first I preferred the listings, and then I was just going with buyers, and I was like, I got comfortable with that, and I don't know, it's hard. Listings are, not to say they're less work, but you're not driving around, showing someone 10 to 20 houses before they make a decision, so it's, I don't know if I prefer one or the other. It's a tough question, but on our team, we do all prospect for listings. So we're all doing the same, the end goal is all the same. We want listings, and that creates the buyers.
Well, I guess at the end of the day too, when you have the listings, you take the listing, you do the open houses, you market that listing, and then that's what happens, right? You have a listing which is great, but you also want to be able to, and I feel like a lot of people, if they just focus on listings, right, or they don't have the team behind them with buyers agents and stuff to kind of take care of those people. It's like you have a listing and you end up with all these people that are interested in that house, right? But they're probably not necessarily going to buy that house. They're just interested in buying something, and they come through the door of the open house or whatever, and you meet them. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are just leaving business on the table, or leaving, people out there that, are underserved, right? Because if I walk into an open house and you're at the open house and we talk and meet, and then you got to tell me like, oh no, sorry, I only list houses, then I'm kind of like, all right, well, who can I talk to that if I wanted to buy something, and I think that's what's kind of nice having it on both sides there.
Yeah, so you just touched on the head, Shane. It's listings leverage lead. So if you're marketing, and this is what I don't know who we're talking to, unless we're talking to realtors, we're talking to the general community here, but if you market your property, if you read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and you market your listings correctly, you should leave 3 more deals from each transaction. And you need a team to handle those deals. And I see it all the time, all over, where basically what's happening is someone just comes. When I got into real estate, the first thing a Weichert agent said to me, because I went to the Weichert School of Real Estate, they said, are you going to be a listing agent or a buyer's agent? And I said, well, why wouldn't I just do both? And that's always kind of been the mentality. It's like, why don't we just do both? But I see it all the time when they're like, we give there's so many agents that give their buyers away to like the office. And then, there's, those customers, they might not be getting the best customer service, but if you're doing your job correctly and you're marketing your listings properly, you're going to get business from it. And then if you could teach your agents how to go out there and get more listings, we go out there and get more business. So it's just, we bite off as much as we can do. And there's like listing agent, essentially, that's the people that are getting the listings. It's like a hunter-gatherer mentality. They go out and get it, bring it back, and everyone else skins it, and we all eat.
But I think that's the thing, like you're saying there, right? If, like you said, if someone takes a listing and then buyers come in, and you're just kind of passing it off to, anyone in the office or some agent, if you don't necessarily focus on buyers, or, don't have the time or the capacity, it's just not what you do. You're really taking someone that has come to you and said, hey, Joe, like, I need help finding a house, and you're kind of, you're saying, hey, well, I don't really handle that, but let me, pass you on to someone. And if that's just like a random someone in your office, you really don't know that they're going to get the service or experience that they really deserve and that you would offer. So when you have that aspect of having your team and having buyers agents, kind of involved, that there's an expectation that is that's set by your team and what you guys do. And these are the things that you guys adhere to. So that if you passing that to, a buyer's agent like Danielle or another agent on your team, that they've been vetted by you and your organization, right? That they're going to understand what that means, and they're going to take the necessary steps to help people find a house, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what they're doing. They're helping people, find the house of their dreams. And even like me and Danielle were chatting about earlier, like on the buy side, you're not getting paid unless you find someone, the house of their dreams, and it's not the buyer who's paying you. So from a buyer's standpoint, it's great to really have that buyer's agent that is able to hold your hand, and from the listing standpoint, it's nice to know that that you have a good team behind you to move your listings.
Hey Shane, I gotta get on a call, but the buyer side is way more fun. All right, guys, thanks for having on. I'll see you guys later.
Bye, Joe.
Bye, guys. Bye.
See that was nice. That was nice. For a couple minutes.
Nice cameo. Paradise.
Just us. So we're hanging out here. So,
we're still on the beach.
You're really echoing. I don't know what the hell you got going on.
I don't know why. I'm just on my couch.
You got your volume cranked up?
Should I lower it?
Yeah, try lowering it.
a little.
You know how to do that?
Is that better?
I don't know. No.
Hello, Shane.
Maybe it's me that's echoing. Who knows?
Who knows?
So what? Is there anything else that you want to say about this buyer's agent type thing, or you had enough for today?
I don't know. I like it. It's a grind every day, but that's a business, and I don't know. Do you have any questions, Shane?
Those are like Jerry Springer's final thoughts. It's a grind, man. It's a grind.
I look like a ghost.
You're in some kind of sunlight there. I know. I'm surprised Gary didn't hop on here and try to start fights. He usually likes to come on here and complain about what I'm doing.
I'm surprised your alter ego hasn't.
I don't know what happened. Why my camera is using this camera and not this camera.
It always looks like you're looking at the wrong camera.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this one. You're looking at this one.
Yeah. There you go.
Too many cameras here.
Too many Shanes.
Something fishy's going on.
Oh my gosh.
So. All right. Well, I think that we covered some things here today. Covered some ground. Got you to the Facebook Live, so maybe we won't be so nervous next time.
I'm not nervous.
I ain't scared.
Always trying to cause problems.
That's it. You have to air our grievances.
I know. Make amends finally.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hop on a call. I'm gonna get back to work over here, and let's get something going here. We'll chat soon.
All right. Peace.
Bye, Danielle.
Bye.